I found this old lens recently for $9 in the miscellaneous bin at my camera store. It's old, it's dirty, it doesn't work that well, but I see some potential in it and I'm gonna try to fix it up. The easiest repair is the flaking rubber on the focus rings. I could just leave these as they are, but it'll be nice to take them off and replace them with nice new rubber. Sometimes you can use a silicone spray to soften hard rubber, but in this case it's already so cracked, I have to just replace it. The adhesive residue then comes off with a simple solvent. I discovered in this case, acetone didn't work as well as isopropyl. With the rings cleaned up to my satisfaction and replacement rubber ordered, it was time to tackle the harder part. The zoom ring has a nice resistance to it, but the focus ring is basically free spinning. This makes it basically impossible to pull focus and stay there when shooting. This shouldn't be too complicated of a repair, just a re-grease of those threads. But unfortunately I got a little carried away on this one. There are a few rules, a few things I have to remind myself whenever I do camera lens repairs. The first is to either wear gloves or keep alcohol handy to avoid smudges on internal glass. The second is to keep all hardware organized and either film or take frequent pictures throughout disassembly. And my third rule to myself, and the one I ignored in this case, is to have a clear goal in mind and take frequent steps back to make sure I'm not diving too deep into disassembly. I remember when I was a kid, I disassembled this little digital kitchen timer. I think a button didn't work or something. I was trying to fix it, but before I knew it, I'd taken everything apart. It was in 100 pieces and I wasn't able to get it back together. My mom came up to me and she was like so confused. Why did you take this apart? Why did you break it? It kind of worked. You didn't need to try to fix it. And even though now I know more how things work and how to fix things, I can still find myself falling into that trap of diving too deep past the point of no return. After re-greasing the focus ring, it felt way better, worked really well. But then I got an idea. With the screw removed that prevents that ring from moving past the minimum focus distance, it could spin way out and focus far closer than it could normally. By default, this lens could focus on something maybe a meter away, but by extending it further, it can see objects really close. This effectively makes this lens a macro lens, with the only downside being if you focus too close, the front piece of glass will just fall off. My idea to fix this is to reinsert the screw that follows along this channel, and then just cut that channel a little longer, so the focus ring still stops, just at a further distance. This was where I should have taken a break and analyzed whether or not this minor modification was worth the risk. To get this inner tube separated from the outer part that I needed to cut, I basically had to disassemble everything. Previously I repaired this 7.5mm Laowa, which was a $400 lens I got for about $100. I declicked the aperture ring and fixed the focus. This Sony 10-18 is about a $500 lens I also bought broken for about $100. It was dropped and the whole zoom mechanism broke. It was stuck at 11mm, but I fixed it up and now it works perfectly, saved a couple $100. So I guess I had a bit of a false sense of confidence when it came to this lens, and quickly I started to realize that I may have gone too far. Cutting the channel actually went exactly to plan. My issues arose on reassembly. Aligning the two glass elements in the very tight space of the zoom barrel onto their respective rails was really tough. After successfully making my repairs, I screwed it up by getting ambitious with modifications. I imagine it's a similar feeling to being up at a casino and doubling down, betting again, and losing it all. At the end of the day, it's just a lens that I bought for $10, but it still doesn't feel good. The disappointing part is that I knew better. I've been through this before. So the best thing I can do is take my own advice, pack it up, and reattempt with better tools and skills another day. This similar C-mount zoom lens also lived in that to-repair box for a while. When I got my first interchangeable lens camera, I would just buy random vintage lenses and see if I could fix them. I couldn't figure this one out, but I came back to it years later, and finally got it working. So maybe I got a bit ambitious and screwed up this lens this time, but with a little more skill and patience, I don't think it's gonna stay broken for long. Thank you for your time.